What's good? Welcome into the 49ers Report powered by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Sr. A loaded show coming your way, and we'll get officially started in about 10 minutes, bringing you the latest 49ers news and rumors, 5 draft prospects who the 49ers have to target in round 2. We'll also take a look at the list of the top remaining free agents and do a mailbag where I take all of your 49ers-related questions. Today's show brought to you by the fine folks at Rumble. You can watch us here on YouTube or on Rumble as well. Rumble.com/49ers TV. You have your choice of platforms in which you can take in all of your 49ers news and rumors content. As we get started, I want to ask you where you're watching from, where you're tuned in from, and as always, thanks for making the 49ers Report a part of your day. Compared to a lot of other teams across the National Football League, it's been a pretty silent offseason for San Francisco. Jimmy Garoppolo trade rumors continue because it looks as though Jimmy Garoppolo might even return to the Bay in 2022. That's been the biggest storyline with this football team. Outside of that, maybe Charvarius Ward, but here on the channel, we've been keeping you up to date with everything going down with this football team, and that is why you subscribe by hitting that red subscribe button down below. Can't wait to interact with all of you, and we have people tuned in from all across the globe. Ecuador is in the house from Quinn Price, Florida from Pry NCE, Massachusetts, Monterey County, nice, my cousins live in Monterey, good stuff right there, Cathedral City, California, Rancho, California, Oakland, Arkansas, Woodland, but right now watching from Redding, Amarillo, Texas, Lompoc, California, Louisville, Kentucky, Boise, Idaho, Utah here from Robert, Hayward from David Blanco, North Carolina, Loomis, Utah Niner Empire. Also, our live poll. Do you want Garoppolo back this upcoming season? 74% no, 26% yes on 86 votes. Continue to keep that comment section flowing and get your votes in our live poll. So we're going to take a look at the top remaining NFL free agents who the 49ers can still sign. NFL draft also coming your way April 28th to the 30th. So with that, I ask you this question. Which position do you want the Niners to address in the draft or through free agency? Once more, get those votes in. 98 people watching live, 33 likes. That audience only going to continue to grow all throughout the day. We also have some people tuned in on Rumble as well. Love to see it. Jack Eilis, he's in Idaho. San Francisco YT. Getting to those needs right now. Edge rusher from Matthew Bowman. O-line and safety from Justin. O-line from Pedro. Leroy Padilla. Can we trade Jimmy G for a bag of chips? Can you even get a bag of chips back for Jimmy G at this point? I'm not sure. Secondary depth in general from Luscious. Treasure, watching from Pittsburgh, California. Need more wide receivers. O-line for sure from David. What's up, Chase, from Larry Fort? What up, Larry? Daniel Middleton. Offensive line and safety. A lot of those position groups fit some of the areas of need that we're going to talk about on today's show, and that includes 5 draft prospects who I want the Niners to target in the second round with pick number 61. I want you to do me a favor. Here on YouTube, since I took over the 49ers Report following the NFL Draft, we have grown like crazy. 20,000 subs in less than a year. We're up to nearly 60,000 subs in total, but on Rumble, I want to grow our audience there as well. And all you have to do, hit that green subscribe button if you go to rumble.com/49ers TV. Right now, 229 people are subscribed to our new video service and our new partner at Rumble. How many people can we pick up by the end of the show in about an hour? Rumble.com/49ers TV. Hit that green subscribe button. And can we overtake Chicago Bears Now on Rumble by the end of the day? Chicago Bears Now, led by the fearless leader, Harrison Graham, 361 subs on Rumble. Niners Report, only 229. I want to see you rally. I want to see you show up and show out. I want to see you support us by going to rumble.com/49ers TV and just hit that green subscribe button, because sometimes we put exclusive content on Rumble only. Do you want Jimmy G on the roster in 2022? Yes, this is our poll question, but also I want to hear from some of you who haven't gotten your answers in our poll question. Do you want Garoppolo on this squad this upcoming season? Type a Y for yes or type an N for no. I see Shannon Bryant is in the chat, SF 49ers fan. Larry Fort. Your show needs to be on ESPN. I like it here on Chat Sports, my guy. Have more flexibility that way. George Garcia, and we can have a lot more fun, I'll tell you that. Red Solid Gold, no. Hot Dog, yes. Dwayne, no. Jay Wishbone, no. Pedro, he will be a good backup. Yeah, but not for $26 million. That's my problem. BK from the Bay, no. Treasure Kisses, no. Hot Dog, no. Hell no from James Caps. No from the homie Wet Noodle 187. Hot Dog 4789, yes. Got a couple of hot dogs in the chat. They used to call me Hot Dog when I played basketball growing up. See what I did? Get buckets, cookies. SF 49ers fan, N. Either way, it's fine from Francisco. Now, I agree with you in that sentiment that I think the Niners are going to be fine because they have a roster that is very good, premier talent, one of the best head coaches in the National Football League. But when you have a cap hit for a backup quarterback of $26 million, it doesn't allow you to build out the rest of your roster. That can be a problem. Q&A time. We'll be doing one mailbag on today's live show where I take all of your 49ers related questions. A couple of ways for you to get involved. Use the hashtag 49ers. Better yet, super chat us. Myself, the homie producer Marshall Green. We're already drinking some tequila with Topo Chico. You want to join us with our happy hour? You can do that. You want to have us drink even more? You can super chat us as we have fun. HR, Robert, Jonathan Reese, Bill, Robert Davis. I wouldn't sub to me, to be honest. That's funny. James Caps, all in the chat right now. I wouldn't sub to me as a channel, by the way. H. Lual Mega. Hopefully I pronounced that right. That was a difficult one. Dale Sweeney, I see you as well. Joe Caterly, a frequent visitor of the 49ers Report. Good stuff. 135 likes. Watching, 53 likes. Hit that thumbs up icon if you're ready to start today's show. We're getting into the latest 49ers news and rumors, taking a look at the top free agents left, one mailbag, and 5 prospects who the Niners need to target in the second round of the 2022 NFL Draft. 140 people watching live now, 58 likes. Can we get to 75 likes real quick? 75 likes before we start today's show, then we'll hop in officially. This is part of our audience build-up segment where we get that comment section flowing, let the people get that notification, and then come on in. If you didn't get that notification, turn on those notifications. Therefore, anytime we go live, anytime we push out a video, you will be notified. 150 people watching live now, 71 likes. What'd you say? HR's comment. Hold up, I need to smoke. That's cool. Hit that bleezy real quick. Come back. We will be here, myself and Marshall Green. Here's what we have coming your way to preview today's live show here, 49ers Report by Chat Sports, as always. Thanks for making today's show a part of your day. Don't forget to subscribe for free daily videos on your San Francisco 49ers. Going to take a look at the top remaining free agents. I have 5 NFL draft targets that the Niners need to go after in the upcoming NFL draft at the back end of April. We're also going to be doing one mailbag too, where I take all of your 49ers related questions. 73 likes. 2 likes away from officially starting. Got to get to 75 eventually. Got to hit the century mark and get to 100. Hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Just got to 75. For those of you watching on Rumble, get that comment section flowing over there. Already up to 230 subscribers, so whoever subscribed already, thank you very much. With that, let's hop into the latest 49ers news and rumors, take a look at the top remaining free agents, and get this show underway. Can't wait to get into all of it with you, the Niner Gang, the Niner Faithful, and the Niner Empire. Let's ride. Welcome into the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Coming your way on today's show, we're going to take a look at the top remaining NFL free agents. And of course, San Francisco has been somewhat silent on the free agency front. The lone splash that they made, Charvarius Ward, the cornerback, coming to the Bay from Kansas City. Other than that, some moves made on the peripheries of this roster, but there are still some marquee names left on the free agency market. So on today's show, we're taking a look at the top 5 players at each position position outside of defensive back where we do our due diligence. We do it for the people and take a look at the top 10 defensive backs. So let's first take a look at the top remaining free agent quarterbacks. Now, obviously, the big domino that has to fall is Jimmy Garoppolo. We'll see what happens on that front. If he gets cut, if he gets traded away, is Nate Sudfeld going to be the backup quarterback for Trey Lance? We'll see about that. And if that's the case, and Garoppolo is no longer on this football team, does San Francisco look the route of a Ryan Fitzpatrick, an A.J. McCarron, a Blaine Gabbert, Cam Newton, or Mike Glennon? Cam Newton in the headlines today because according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, still wants to play. Some teams have reached out to him about potentially being a starter, but I think that's more so to increase his market value because which teams out there want Cam Newton as a starting quarterback? I don't think there are any. I think he's washed at this point. Maybe in a couple of plays he can come in after backing up Trey Lance and run the football, but as a starter long-term, I don't think he can really play any longer. He's never been a big completion percentage guy, but as a veteran to Trey Lance, maybe it would make sense for San Francisco, but it seems as though they really, really like Nate Sudfeld and maybe even Jimmy Garoppolo as the backup quarterback. As for Jimmy G, Kyle Shanahan did speak today at the NFL owners meetings in Florida. It was bright and early. My man was looking tired. He started speaking to the media around 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern, which is 5 a.m. Pacific. The Jimmy G domino has to fall first in order for the Niners to figure out their backup quarterback situation. Once that gets figured out, then maybe the Niners will make a signing elsewhere or restructure the contract for Jimmy G because a $26 million cap hit for a backup quarterback, that, folks, ain't it. We shift to the top remaining running backs, and I think the Niners are pretty good in this area with a couple of the young studs on this roster, but there are some really good names left available. Melvin Gordon of the Denver Broncos, Sony Michel of the Los Angeles Rams, Marlon Mack as a dual-threat running back is a really good player still at this point. We know about Jerick McKinnon, a rebound season for him last year with the Kansas City Chiefs, another one of those dual-threat backs, and then David Johnson. What a free fall it's been for him. Couple of years there for Arizona, looked to be one of the best running backs in the game. Then he started to tail off, gets traded to the Houston Texans in the last couple of years. He really hasn't done much. As for the running back room for the Niners, Trey Sermon looks great in offseason workouts. He's been working with Dalvin Cook, Devin Singletary. He's been putting in that grind, and I think he can be a really good backup to Elijah Mitchell, and at points can even start if Elijah Mitchell were to be out or if Elijah Mitchell struggles. It became clear to me last year that the Niners were moving forward with a youth movement at that running back spot because they used draft picks on Trey Sermon in the third round, then later on in the draft for Elijah Mitchell, and they decided to not retain Raheem Mostert. So I think Kyle Shanahan very comfortable with the duo of Elijah Mitchell and Trey Sermon. I do not expect San Francisco to sign any of those free agents who we talked about. We're going to continue to break down this list. First, I want you to get into the comments section and give me a name. Your favorite remaining free agent target. It can be those guys that we've talked about already, or some of the players who we've yet to break down, and some players who maybe we don't even get to. Either way, let me know in the comments section, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, because when the Niners make a signing, when breaking news happens, when there's a big report out there, when there's a juicy rumor, we cover it all right here on the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports as we approach 60,000 subs. Join the faithful family by hitting that red subscribe button down below or go to youtube.com/49erstv. Probably the most star power remaining, it's at the wide receiver position. Look at the names on this list to my right. Odell Beckham Jr. coming off the torn ACL. Is Jarvis Landry going to go back to Cleveland now that they traded for Deshaun Watson? Maybe. Julio Jones, one of Kyle Shanahan's favorite all-time players, put up massive numbers in 2015 and 2016, best 2 seasons of his career when Kyle Shanahan was his OC. He's also a scheme fit as that ex-wide receiver. Cole Beasley, really good slot, but you have Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel for that. Emmanuel Sanders, maybe a vertical threat, a possession type of wide receiver as a veteran coming back to the Bay. I'd probably say no because the Niners are keeping it youthful in terms of their roster right now. As for Julio Jones, he's probably one of the more sexy names on this list because he's a bona fide Hall of Famer, but the last couple of years, the production has gone down and the injuries have gone up. He is a system fit, and when you put him alongside Deebo Samuel, as well as Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle, I think he'd be able to really put forward a lot of production. But I'd like to see the Niners bring in a big-bodied wide receiver. Could that be Jaquan Jennings, could he continue to grow as a former late-round pick out of Tennessee? He was excellent last year. You take a look at the numbers, 24 catches, 282 yards, and 5 touchdowns. You're like, that's not crazy production. But on the money downs, third downs, and fourth downs, he was terrific, especially in the clutch, and I'd like to see that continued growth. Could he be that big-bodied wide receiver in the red zone who the Niners have been bereft of in years past? Maybe. And I kind of like that movement because he's really, really affordable. Pick a wide receiver 3 for this Niners offense. I might go with Jaquan Jennings. Are you going to go with a player like Julio Jones? Even though he's a little bit older, once again, do it right now and get those names in the comment section down below. Now, over the last couple of weeks, we've been telling you about the fine folks at Rumble, a brand new partner here at Chat Sports and on the 49ers Report. And we continue to grow like crazy here on YouTube as well as on Rumble. But we have some work to do. Chicago Bears now crushing us in terms of subscribers, more than 130 subscribers than the 49ers Report. So this is what I want you to do right now. Go to rumble.com/49erstv and show me that you love what we're doing here on the Niners Report and hit that green subscribe button on the Rumble app. Uncensored content, exclusive content on that side of things. Do it right now, and I appreciate it in advance. Top remaining tight end free agents. Now, I think the Niners are out of this equation because they're bringing back Ross Dwelley on a 1-year contract. Rob Gronkowski, Jared Cook, Eric Ebron, Kyle Rudolph, Anthony Ferkser. I think among this group, Eric Ebron may be the most underrated. Rob Gronkowski, the future Hall of Famer. But I think the Niners are also set at that tight end position. And what's the common theme here? The Niners haven't made a lot of moves because they're content with the current construction of their roster. As far as Ross Dwelley goes, not a big pass catcher. 4 catches, 51 yards. Kyle Shanahan really doesn't use a lot of 12 personnel with 2 tight end sets. I'd frankly like to see more of that with Trey Lance because I think it makes the offense a little bit less predictable, but Ross Dwelley is a special teamer, as a guy who can block and occasionally catch some footballs, is going to be one of the backup tight ends for George Kittle this upcoming season. Top remaining free agents along the offensive line. Some good ones and some big names. I'm really surprised that J.C. Tretter, head of the NFL Players Association, hasn't linked up with the team just yet. Riley Reiff of Cincinnati, the Bengals have totally rebuilt that offensive line for Joe Burrow, and I love what they've done because his first 2 years in the NFL, he's been beaten and battered like crazy. Reiff might be on his way out. Darrell Williams, Bobby Massey, David Quessenberry. I'm not sure they figured to be starters, and I wouldn't want the Niners to take a chance on any of those guys. Right now, a lot of those marquee free agents along the offensive line are with other teams because that's a position of importance for all 32 teams in the National Football League. An injury update. Along the offensive line for San Francisco, Mike McGlinchey. And along the defensive line for San Francisco, Javon Kinlaw. Kyle Shanahan saying on Tuesday they've been working out at the facility in Santa Clara. McGlinchey coming off the torn quad, Javon Kinlaw coming off ACL surgery. If they return to form and they play elite football in 2022, it'll do wonders for the Niners in their chances of trying to make another deep playoff run. Along the defensive line, Niners have stars like Nick Bosa. They have a really good player in Eric Armstead. They're bringing back a couple of other players. But could they make a big splash and go after Jadeveon Clowney? Not sure he's a scheme fit because a lot throughout his NFL career is figured more so as a 3-4 lineman and a linebacker, but he can really get after the quarterback. Had 9 sacks last year opposite of Myles Garrett, playing a lot in a 4-3 scheme. Can you imagine what he'd be able to do opposite of Nick Bosa? I just think he's out of the Niners' price range. Trey Flowers, Melvin Ingram, Justin Houston, Jerry Hughes, those 2 through 4 players, they're older in age, there's no question about it, and San Francisco has really prioritized younger players. Now, Clowney's been in the league for a long time, but playing on the other side of Nick Bosa, I think would allow him to have a season like he did this past year in Cleveland when he racked up 9 sacks playing alongside Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett, Nick Bosa, 2 of the best edge rushers in the NFL. At the defensive tackle spot, you lose DJ Jones, you bring in Hassan Ridgeway. Eric Armstead is going to consistently play defensive tackle after he was kind of a failed edge rusher, and I really like what he was able to do. I think you're going to lose Arden Key, who played a lot in the interior for you. So do you go a route of going with Calais Campbell, Akeem Hicks, Sheldon Richardson? Larry Ogunjobi signed a monster deal with the Chicago Bears before failing his physical. A lot of red flags there. Linval Joseph, formerly of the Los Angeles Chargers, is out there as well. Top remaining free agents at the linebacker spot. A lot of buzz about Bobby Wagner maybe going to the Rams or going to the Baltimore Ravens. It looks as though the Baltimore Ravens have been able to close the gap on Bobby Wagner. He is demanding a one-year contract worth in the neighborhood of $11 million. And I can tell you right now, because San Francisco's paying so much money to a player like Fred Warner, and they have other really good linebackers on this team, they're not going to pay Bobby Wagner that much money. Now, other players, Kyle Van Noy, championship-level pedigree, high football IQ, I'd like him on the cheap as a depth piece. Alexander Johnson, Jamie Collins, and Dante Howard, some really good name power there. Good players, but I don't think the Niners go that route either. Why is that? Because the 49ers have one of the best linebacking cores in the National Football League. All-Pro Fred Warner, one of the best in the game at his craft, and he's still only in his mid-20s. When Dre Greenlaw's able to stay healthy, he's a fantastic player. And so many times last year, the Niners defense needed a big play, and Azeez Al-Shire was really able to come through with some monster splash plays last year for this Niners defense, whether he was punching out the football and forcing a fumble, picking off passes. He was terrific, and that combination of players on this Niners defense is absolutely fantastic. Right now, with the moves that the Niners have made up to this point and the moves that still need to be made, grade the Niners roster for me in the comment section. A, B, C, D, or F. How good do you think this team is right now? You let me know and be the judge in the comment section. Wide receiver, a lot of big names there. Also at cornerback too, because at wide receiver, you were looking at guys like OBJ, Jarvis Landry, Julio Jones. How about these names at the cornerback position, which is still, in my opinion, a position of need for the 49ers? Stephon Gilmore is still out there miraculously. I think he's waiting on a big offer that he hasn't landed yet. Steven Nelson, if you can sign him to like a 2-year, $7 million contract, $3.5 million per year, I'd like that. He played good for the Philadelphia Eagles last year. Chris Harris certainly has pedigree. So too does Kevin King. Kyle Fuller had a bounce-back year after getting off to a rough start with Denver to start that year. And then you take a look at these 6 through 10 spots. Hey, a reunion with Jason Verrett, could that come to fruition? Xavier Rhodes, too old for me. So too is Patrick Peterson. Jack Rabbit, Janoris Jenkins was pretty solid for Tennessee last year. So too was Bryce Callahan with Denver throughout his career. But are we down for a Jason Verrett return? That's really what I want to focus on here. Can you get him back for like a couple of $1 million coming off yet another torn ACL? And if he goes down again, let's hope that isn't the case, but if he goes down again, you have some insurance. I like the makeup of this Niners secondary right now, which are Charvarius Ward, Emmanuel Mosley, Ambry Thomas, Diamador Lenore. You bring back Jason Verrett, who when healthy is a very, very good player, and 2 years ago was awesome for San Francisco. If you get him back for a bargain cheap deal, I might be a fan of that if I'm John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. Lastly, top remaining free agents at the safety spot. A lot of name power here too. Tyrann Mathieu, Indianapolis, plus 500 odds to land him. Steelers have been in the mix. So too have the Las Vegas Raiders. All of the chatter on the Niners front has been somewhat silent because I think Mathieu, he's going to seek a deal between, let's say, $12 to $16 million per year. Niners won't pay that. Landon Collins, Rodney McLeod, Jason McCourty, also out there on the open market. So too is one of the Niners' own players in Jaquan Tart. Now, I thought that he was going to be sought after more so than he's been up to this point in free agency, but Jaquan Tart for the right price, I'm down. Let's go. Everybody wants to focus on that dropped interception in the NFC Championship game, which could have vaulted very well the Niners to the Super Bowl. But last year, he had the best year of his career. And if you can bring him in for $4 or $5 million per year, I think that's a really good contract. We're still waiting to see if Jimmy Ward is going to be extended. But last year, I thought Jimmy Ward, Jaquan Tart, one of the best safety tandems in the National Football League. Let's run it back because they were good in that back end. And I think the Niners right now are better at cornerback than they were to start last year with the acquisition of Charvarius Ward. So I asked you about the Niners roster a little bit ago. How about this team competing for a Super Bowl? Are they good enough? What say you? Type G for good enough, L for lackluster. Once again, we love hearing from the audience. Treat the comment section like a Sports Talk Radio call-in line because here on YouTube, it's basically that, and let me know down below. All right, let's do some shout-outs here. Kevin, Mathieu is a safety. Yes, I'm aware. That's why he was on the safety list. Cornelius Griffin typing a G. BK from the Bay typing an L. Kevin Clement, or Clement, hopefully I pronounced it right one of those 2 times, saying good enough. DK, looks like you're saying keep Tart. I think I'm on to what you're saying there. Leaving, take the L. Gene, take the L. Not with Jimmy still on the roster. They aren't, from Antonio. Continue to get those votes in.
What's up, Niner gang?
H. Graham, getting that headset. Pumping out some more content, or you outie? Yeah. Well earned. Jason Lutz, also in the chat. NFC is trash. Winner of the West has a good shot to run it. I agree. Shannon Mack, keep Pop-Tart. Hello. You all right? Cool. Okay. See ya. Got some people coming in. Larry Fort, trade for Parker. Covered that on the show yesterday. Also, we have a super chat that came in. We'll pop that up on the screen here in a little while before we get to our next segment, or we can just do it in that mailbag if we think that makes sense, Marsh. Keep Jimmy as the number 2 quarterback from H. Lopez. Thanks for getting those votes in. Also, if you want to give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram, you can do so at Chase_senior. Now, starting on Sunday, this past Sunday, I had said, whoever gives me a follow, I'm going to give you a shout out here on the show. So right now I'm going to do that. And before the end of the show, I'll do my best to give you even more shout outs here on Twitter and Instagram. So on Twitter, Jess Tunk, Victor Adrian, Trent Nugent, Roblox God, Sidelines, NJW, Kenneth Lewis, Victor, and Michael KB. Appreciate those follows on Twitter. And then on Instagram, I've been really putting a lot more content on Instagram. We have Cole Hembro, what up, man, from Illinois. Jason Cruz, Eric, It's Red, Gerardo, Carlitos, Oscar Sanchez, Robert, Muhammad Khalifa, Raymond Garcia, James Albert, Chris Watkowski, Elnora Taylor, Levi, Samteek Industries, Palanai, Rodney Alvarez, Victor Rodriguez, Seth Lane, Giovanni Marone, Aaron Guha, Art, Jojo, Make Money, yes, amen, Bobby, Zach Haynes, Daniel, Tyrone Montgomery, Len Wiley, and Juan Forrest. Those are the follows that are on my Twitter and Instagram feeds from the last couple of days. I'm a man of my word. I said, look, you give me a follow on Twitter and IG, I'll give you a shout out right here live on the 49ers Report. Also, coming up next on the show, going to be doing a mailbag where I take all of your 49ers related questions and your super chats. We have one super chat that came in. We'll get to that during our mailbag, but if you have a question about the NFL draft, NFL free agency, Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, what Kyle Shanahan had to say today, get your questions in right now using the hashtag 49ers or super chat. And then on the other side of that mailbag, going to break down 5 targets who the Niners need to pinpoint in the second round of the NFL draft at pick number 61. We ready to rock with this mailbag? Let's get to this mailbag right now on the 49ers Report. Get those questions in, hashtag 49ers, better yet, super chat, and I'll answer all those questions coming up right now. 49ers News and Rumors mailbag coming your way on the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Sr. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can get your questions answered during our live shows as we go live every single Tuesday, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. We start off with a $5 super chat from David Blanco. With Lance's arm, how much untapped potential can we expect to see with the wide receivers? I think a lot more. I think this Niners offense will become more explosive. It'll become a lot more dangerous for a couple of reasons, David. Trey Lance can complete any throw on the football field. In between the numbers, outside the numbers, in between the hashes, but also he's going to be able to stretch this field vertically as well. He's going to be able to take the top off of the defense. He's going to be able to complete throws that Jimmy Garoppolo simply can't because Garoppolo is not the athlete or the thrower, or nor does he have the arm strength of a Trey Lance. So I think this Niners offense is going to be different because of the running element. I think it's going to be more dangerous because of the athleticism and the arm strength of Trey Lance. That's a fantastic question, and as always, thank you for your super chat. BK from the Bay, the homie. Chase, why can't we package Jimmy and Kittle for some draft picks? Giving up George Kittle as part of a package with Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because are you going to be able to replace George Kittle's production right away with the win-now team with draft compensation, with a draft pick who would be unknown? I'd rather go more so in like the Los Angeles Rams and trade away the 9 draft picks, or at least some of the 9 draft picks that the Niners have at their fingertips in this coming NFL draft, for more immediate playmakers and guys who can really help this roster right now. I don't think you package Kittle and Jimmy. Now, does that help another team take on Jimmy Garoppolo's contract? Yes, but then you're taking on 2 of the higher contracts in the NFL at those respective positions, because Garoppolo has the cap hit of around $26 million. George Kittle, one of the highest paid tight ends. You keep Kittle, you trade Jimmy G, or maybe you get to a point where you just have to cut him to free up a lot of that money for cap space. Now, if you're subscribed to the 49ers Report, thank you so much. We are approaching 60,000 subs. A big reason for that, audience engagement, consistency. We inform, we entertain. Also, we push out videos every single day. We're not behind a paywall. So if you've subscribed to the channel, thank you so much. If you haven't, though, make sure you do that. And if you are a loyal member of the faithful family here at Chat Sports, get into the comment section and type me. I'm going to show you some love down in the comment section. Luscious. Should the Niners trade early into the second round to reunite Trey Lance with Christian Watson? It worked with Joe and Jamar Chase. Why wouldn't it work here? I think Christian Watson is a really good player. This past year, he was awesome for North Dakota State, as once again, they were an excellent program. 43 grabs, 800 yards, 7 touchdowns, average yards per catch, 18.5. Christian Watson, I really like his size, 6'4", 6'5". He ran a sub 4.4 at the NFL Scouting Combine. He's a good player. Think he has good hands. You can put him in a variety of routes on that route tree. And anytime a quarterback can have some level of familiarity with a wide receiver, it ends up paying really big dividends, because that type of continuity is very important on the football field. Treasure Kisses, what it do? Trade Jimmy, Greenlaw, Jason, and George. What are you getting back, though, if you offload all of those players? So if you want to hit me with the trade package, for sure, let me know. But I need to know what you're getting back if you trade all of those players. And do you mean Jason Verrett because he's an NFL free agent? So please clarify. Steven, trade Jimmy Garoppolo for Taysom Hill. So it's funny because Dennis Allen, first-year head coach for New Orleans, said today on Tuesday that Taysom Hill is actually going to be practicing and playing at tight end and no longer at quarterback. Now, I think that's a smart move for Taysom Hill. As an athlete, he's fantastic. As an athlete, he can make some big plays. And you can use him in that Swiss Army knife role where he plays a little bit of tailback, a little bit of running back, a little bit of fullback, a little bit of wide receiver and tight end. He is just not a quarterback. And I knew that right when I saw him take consistent quarterback reps. Now, he wanted to make it as a quarterback. He was paid like a borderline starter and made a lot of money. But as a tight end, I think he would just be able to become a lot more dangerous. I want to ask you this question. Let's throw it back, or we can look at the immediacy of the moment. Who is your favorite player on the 49ers? And it can either be a player that's on the team right now or all time. Let me know in the comment section. Drop me a name or names. Eli, P.J. Walker for backup quarterback. Look, so I have some insight on P.J. Walker because I went to Temple University, and when I was there, P.J. Walker was a 4-year starter, and he was great. Now, he goes to the Indianapolis Colts after not getting drafted and kind of fizzled out with Indy as he was a backup for Andrew Luck. Then he goes to the XFL and was the MVP of that league. He was great. Now, in some spot starts with Carolina the last 2 years, he's really just been okay. But as a backup quarterback, I like him. Not the tallest guy, has a nice little arm, works his ass off. He's a vet. He's a leader. He was the face of that Temple program during some bad times and some good times. I like his character a lot. Jason Lutz. Why is Tyrann Mathieu not in 49ers red and gold? He's a great fit and would give elite talent on all levels of the defense. So that latter part of the question, I agree with you. If you want to play Mathieu at safety, you can. You want to play him at cornerback outside, inside, you can. You can also send him home on blitz packages as a box safety. He could play linebacker too. This guy can literally play anywhere on the football field. But because of that, and because of the numbers that he's put up, and the advantages he poses and gives the defense, going to make a lot of money. And I don't think San Francisco is willing to pay him all that much money. Now, with a player like Jaquan Brisker, they can pay him, let's say, $3 to $6 million as a free agent With Matthew, though, I think you're looking at 10 to 15, and that's a lot of money that could hamstring you. NFL Draft is coming your way at the end of April, April 28th to the 30th in Las Vegas. And, of course, here on the Niners Report, our draft content, it's going to be awesome. But if you want to rock the same hats as the Niners draftees, you can do so right now thanks to our friends at Fanatics, today's presenting sponsor. Just plug in that link down below. It's chatsports.com/49ers draft hats. You can get this flat brim style to be looking like Kyle Shanahan or the dad hat style. This style's dope, though. I'm going to put that link in the comment section and the description of this video. Jason Lutz, over under 3 trades during draft day by San Francisco. So throughout the NFL draft, over under 3 trades. I'm going to say under. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo was one of those trades during the NFL draft. But I guess you could win that bet if the Niners either move up or move back during the draft. So that's a sneaky good question by you, Jason. And if you're right, you can let me know later on following the NFL draft. Nicole and Harold, always supporting. Do you think we can somehow get a first-round pick to get Derek Stingley by giving up a second and a couple of thirds? I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think that's enough to move up, let's say, within the top 20 to get Derek Stingley Jr. Now, last year, if he would have been draft eligible, he might have been a top 10 guy. This year, I don't think he's going to be a top 10 player. He slid a little bit because he certainly struggled in 2021, but still, I don't think a second and a couple of thirds is going to get it done because I think teams in the first round value those picks. But Stingley as a player, I'm higher on him than most after what was a down and injury-plagued year at LSU this past year. Speaking of next year, predict the Niners' record in 2022. And remember, do the simple math, 17 games. So last year I had predicted that the Niners were going to win 11 games. They ended up winning 10. I was pretty spot on. I think this year they're going to be in that 9 to 11 win range. You let me know if you're a genie in the comment section right now. $5 super chat from Pedro. So far, what is the biggest disappointment this offseason? I'd say the biggest disappointment, Pedro, and the biggest surprise is the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo is still on this roster. And there were so many weird things that took place with Garoppolo, his trade value, his trade market. He got that shoulder surgery. 1, he got it late. 2, he didn't even consult with San Francisco about getting that shoulder surgery. And if he gets it right after the year, does he end up getting traded? And our team's able to really look at that shoulder to see how it's coming along with the recovery process and then make a trade and an offer for Jimmy G. But John Lynch said at the NFL owners meetings this week that they didn't even receive a trade offer for Garoppolo. And a big reason for that, according to Kyle Shanahan, was that shoulder injury. So I'd say that's the biggest disappointment and surprise so far throughout this offseason. Be sure to give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Chase_Senior. If you're watching this on the weekend, that's when this mailbag is going to be going out. Throughout this week, I've been giving everybody shout-outs who gave me a follow on Twitter and Instagram. Tweet out clips from the show, chop it up with the Niner gang. Also tweet out all of the content that we push out here on the channel at Chase_Senior. It's the same handle on Twitter and Instagram. Okay, let's see who's in the chat. Then we'll get to 5 targets in the second round of the NFL draft. You a genie? You a cop? BK from the Bay, 11-6. As I asked you to predict the record, BK from the Bay, 11-6. Matthias, 5-12. My gosh, I hope not. He said 5-12 with Trey. I think they might be better with Trey, man. BV50, 9-7. Ken Martin, 10-7. 12-5. Bang bang. I wouldn't sub to me. I sent like 3 different ones like 4 times. Well, here's your shout out, man. Bro, I'm subbed to the channel on 4 accounts. My man. Appreciate you. Got love for you. Big Raul, 10-7. Dirk Ferkel, 11-6. Hanif Razak, welcome back. Which 2 players do you think the Niners will get with their 3rd round pick? Well, stay tuned. Because with the Niners' 2nd round pick at 61st overall, I have 5 draft targets who the Niners must go after in the upcoming NFL draft. Also, let's get ready to rumble! 49ers Report content also on the Rumble app. And right now, we're getting beat by Chicago Bears now and the homie Harrison Graham. 361 subs to 229. That ain't cutting it, Niner gang. Rumble.com/49ers TV. Subscribe to us on Rumble and show me that you love the Niners. Already that number continues to grow. We're trying to see how many people we can get to subscribe to the 49ers Report on Rumble by the end of the day. It's rumble.com/49ers TV. Subscribe now. And at the end of the show, we'll get you updated on how many subscribers we can pick up. Non-censored, exclusive, and even more content on the Rumble side of things. A brand new partner here at Chat Sports. And on the 49ers Report, it's rumble.com/49ers TV. To those of you watching, BK from the Bay, Julian Rost, Treasure Kisses, I Wouldn't Sub, Johnny Robinson, Jonathan Reese, Glenn Hanna, Pedro, H. Lopez, George Garcia, Trade Day. Appreciate all of you for rocking and rolling with us here on the 49ers Report. For those of you who are just joining us, coming up next on the show, 5 draft targets for the Niners in round 2 who I think they must target. That is coming your way. First, let me take a little sip of tequila. Topo Chico and tequila. Down here in Texas, they call that a ranch water. We're informing you on the Niners and alcoholic beverages. Okay, let's move forward with today's live show. 49ers news and rumors coming your way pertaining to the upcoming NFL Draft, which is coming your way April 28th to the 30th from Las Vegas. So coming up on today's show, we're going to take a look at 5 draft targets for the 49ers and players who I think they must target at pick number 61 overall. And the Niners in the NFL Draft have a bunch of draft capital at their fingertips. 9 picks to be exact, including 4 compensatory picks. You take a look at the Niners draft picks here in the upcoming draft. Pick number 61, as I talked about, 2 third-round selections at 93 and 105, 4th-round pick at 134, a 5th-round pick at 172, 3 6th-round selections at 187, 220 and 221, and their final pick in the 7th round at pick number 262. So San Francisco, they've been somewhat silent in NFL free agency so far. I think they're going to pivot to the NFL Draft and really look to build out the rest of this roster on the outer edges, on the peripheries, with some younger talent who, of course, much more affordable than some of the free agent targets out there. So without further ado, here are 5 targets in the NFL Draft, players who might be available in round 2 who I think the 49ers have to target. And all of these players fulfill positions of need. We kick it off with Jaquan Brisker, safety out of Penn State. Love the player, had an opportunity to see him a couple of times live, and if the 49ers want to move on from Jaquiski Tartt, who is a free agent right now, Jaquan Brisker, my favorite rookie option who might be available in the 2nd round and day 2 of the NFL Draft. Combine results, pretty good speed, 4.4 940, 22 bench press reps of 225 pounds, pretty good size as well, 6'1", 199 pounds, and a big reason why I like him, he's athletic, he's smart, he's tough, and he can get it done as a box safety, but also in coverage. Now, at times, he can get lost in coverage. There's no question about it, but you look at his numbers in 2021, pretty solid player. 38 solo tackles for Penn State during what was a very good season, 6 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, and 5 pass breakups. Now, he was a transfer to Penn State from Lackawanna College in northeastern Pennsylvania, and Lackawanna College, one of the best junior colleges across the entire country. So he got really good reps there, transferred to Penn State, and ended up having a very, very good season here in 2021. And if the Niners were to draft him at pick number 61, I think he'd be able to fill a void and be a very good immediate player from day 1 in D'Amico Ryans' defense. Now, I want to test you with this question, Faithful. Pick a starter if you had to pick one. Would you want Jaquiski Tartt on the back end alongside Jimmy Ward? Or do you want more of a youth movement with Jaquan Brisker? Type JT for Tartt, JB for Jaquan Brisker. Let me know in the comment section right now. A really intriguing prospect who's really been turning heads the last couple of weeks, especially after the NFL Combine and his pro day at South Carolina, is Kingsley Enagbare. So 49ers could really use a young edge opposite of Nick Bosa, and Kingsley could really fill that void. Now, his name is very difficult to pronounce, but we'll be able to pronounce it a lot better if he's making plays in the Bay. 4.87 40-yard dash at 6'4", 258 pounds, has really good length, really good upper body power, little tight in the hips, but maybe playing opposite of Nick Bosa. That won't be much of a concern because all of the looks will be shaded towards Bosa's side of line of scrimmage and not Kingsley Anagbare. Now, as for what he did last year, 44 solo tackles, 2 years, 44 solo tackles, 14 tackles for loss, 10.5 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles. This guy can wreak havoc on opposing offenses. This guy is really trending in an upward direction. And yeah, he's a little bit of a project, is Anagbare, but over time, with the development from defensive line coach Chris Kocurek, with the development from defensive coordinator D'Amico Ryans, I think he'd be able to turn into a really good player. And as a rookie, might be able to give you some really good snaps because you're on a loaded defensive line that has a lot of depth to it in San Francisco. Now, these are a couple of needs for the Niners. There's no doubt about it. We talked about safety. We talked about edge. Coming up, we're going to shift to the offensive side of the football. But what is your biggest draft need for the 49ers right now in free agency going into the NFL draft? Let me know in the comments section. And also, make sure you give us a follow and a subscribe on Rumble. All you got to do, go to rumble.com/49erstv. On the Rumble side of things, we're pushing out even more content on Rumble solely. Free and uncensored content. In addition to that, sports, news, politics, tech, business, and what we continue to do here at Chat Sports, grow to the platforms that you as the viewers use. So give us a follow, subscribe now, rumble.com/49erstv. When you plug in that link down below, which is available in the comment section and the description, hit that green subscribe button. 3 more second-round targets who I want the Niners to target. All at the wide receiver position, including Christian Watson and John Metchie on the offensive side of the football, including Abraham Lucas, offensive tackle out of Washington State. We first take a look at Christian Watson. Why is he a familiar name? Well, he went to North Dakota State. He played college football with Trey Lance very, very briefly and really started to turn a lot of heads and make some progress at the NFL Scouting Combine when he lit the world on fire. 43 catches last year, 800 yards, 7 touchdowns, average yards per catch, 18.5, and right now he's soaring up draft boards because he has excellent size at 6'4", 208 pounds, and he ran a 4.36 at the NFL Scouting Combine. Now, prior to him clocking a 4.36, a lot of people thought he was going to be a late second, maybe even a third-round guy. I'm not sure he's going to be available for the Niners at pick 61. But if you consult with Trey Lance, and Lance says, you know what? I've practiced with this guy. I've played with this guy. I know that he can be a bona fide stud in this offense. Let's move up to take him. We have a couple of picks later on in the draft to do so. I'd be a fan of that if it makes Trey Lance, the future of your franchise, that much more comfortable. I like how he can get up and down the field vertically, and that size, really, really appealing. The numbers for John Metchie, very, very appealing. Was talking to our NFL draft expert Tom Downey a little bit earlier. He thinks John Metchie can be an excellent wide receiver, especially on third downs. The big concern with him coming off a significant injury, which we'll get to here in just a second. This level of production, though, last year with the Alabama Crimson Tide was great. Now, I understand he was playing alongside Jamison Williams, but in the SEC, in a shorter season, to rack up 96 grabs, 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns, really is fabulous. I think he's a great route runner. I think he's an excellent wide receiver in terms of the variety of routes that he can run, but he did tear his ACL in December, which is a big problem. It happened in that SEC championship game. Not only did Jamison Williams go down with the torn ACL, so too did his counterpart in John Metchie. But with medical advances being made and with ACL injuries not really all that serious any longer, I think Metchie would be able to come back for his rookie season and be an immediate impact player for San Francisco as that vertical threat, but a guy who can really run any route on the field, outside or inside for the Niners. Now, if you could pick one wide receiver between Christian Watson out of North Dakota State and John Metchie out of Alabama, who would you go with? Type CW for Watson or JM for John Metchie, and embrace debate here because these two guys, very, very intriguing prospects. The 5th of the 5 draft targets who I want the Niners to target in the second round at pick number 61 is Abraham Lucas. He, too, really starting to improve and impress a lot of people. Has great size, 6'6", 315 pounds. He ran a sub 40-yard dash, which at that size is excellent. We're talking about a guy who's massive. He's a mauler, pretty strong, 24 bench press reps of 225 pounds, and he played tackle at Washington State, but he could also play guard as well. And the Niners over time, especially under Kyle Shanahan, they've really started to prioritize a lot of guys with positional versatility. They did so with Aaron Banks. They did so with Jalen Moore. They've done so with previous offensive linemen. And Abraham Lucas, he can play tackle. He can play guard, and that positional versatility is very important. So before we get out of here on this segment, these are the 5 prospects who I want the Niners to target at pick number 61, and I think a lot of these guys can be available. Jaquan Brisker, out of Penn State, the safety. Kingsley Enagbari, defensive end out of South Carolina. Christian Watson out of North Dakota State. John Metchie, the wide receiver out of Alabama. And lastly, Abraham Lucas, the tackle and guard out of Washington State. Who would you like to see the 49ers target? It can be one of these 5 draft targets. It can be other players out there. Either way, give me a name in the comments section. And thanks so much for making the 49ers Report a part of your day. Okay, let's do some shout-outs here. 230 people watching live. A couple more people on Rumble as well. Lucas or Watson from D2. Christian Watson going first round from Ken Martin. That'd be crazy. Stephen Mandler going with Watson. Z said poop. Don't think that he's a draft prospect. A lot of people can poop, though. BV50, it's hard to ignore the center position with the 61st overall pick. That is true. Alex Mack coming back certainly fills a void there for San Francisco, at least seemingly coming back. Maybe they go center in second round. Maybe they go center in the third round. Hanif Razak likes Christian Watson a little bit better. Brisker, Lucas, most practical on your list. Okay, appreciate you. Paul Foster going Watson. So what we're going to do here on the San Francisco 49ers Report, I'm going to give shout-outs to anybody who gave me a follow, KJ or J-Row, as well as Jess Tonk. I'm going to pop over on Instagram to see if anybody followed me over there. Let's see. Followers coming from Abel G and Petamania. We also have to update you on the new subscribers on Rumble. We're now up to 233, so thanks to all of you who supported us on the Rumble side of things. And if you're just joining our YouTube show and on Rumble, thank you so much for watching today's show. And if you're liking what you're seeing, we're sending the show on loop. So coming up, top remaining free agents, top 5 at every single position across the football field, offensively and defensively. We're going to take a look at 5 draft targets who I want the Niners to go after with pick number 61. And we're going to do a 49ers News and Rumors mailbag where I take all of your questions as well as your super chats. So stay tuned for that. All of that coming up on Rumble. All of that coming up on YouTube. No. That's all coming up on the show. Top remaining free agents, 5 NFL draft targets, 49ers News and Rumors mailbag. As soon as producer Marshall Green, the extraordinaire, tells me that we're ready to go with the loop, we're going to send the show on loop. So in case you're just joining us, all of that to my right, it's coming your way right now on the 49ers Report by Chat Sports.